Ruggedly built, waterproof in-ear buds with all the bells and whistles. Are you getting that tickling sensation yet? No? High IP ratings, shockproof designs, heart rate sensors, sanitizing UVC lights, swappable ear wings or smart cases? Still nothing? I'm afraid this video is not for you then. If you, however, are still here, then welcome to the battle of the best sports earbuds. My name is Andy and you're watching Andy's Tech Tone. There are many snug-fitting, splash-proof in-ear buds you can use for exercise, but there is only a handful that were designed specifically to withstand the rigors of intense workouts on the daily. And of those very few, I'm going to compare two of the latest and greatest, the Sennheiser Momentum Sport and the second-gen Jabra Elite 8 Active, with the LG Tone-Free TF8 thrown into the mix for good measure. And one of the most important aspects of any sports-focused earbuds is their design and fit. And what all three earbuds share in common is a rugged build quality and a snug fit. But there are some differences. For example, the Jabra buds simply just fit in my ears right out of the box. The rubber coating along with the shape and the compact size of the earbuds get the job done without the need of any arch support, fins or wings. The LG comes with those silicone wings, and Sennheiser also gives us multiple sets of fins to play with. And while again the LG worked for me right from the get-go, the Momentum Sport caused me some headaches. It took me some trial and error before I found the perfect fit. But at the end of the day, I'm happy with the fit of all three earbuds now. And while it might sound like that the Sennheisers are at a disadvantage due to their finicky fit, having all the ear tip and fin options to mix and match can give anyone a better chance to tune in the fit of their earbuds. The same applies to the TF8 and its wings. But the Jabra, while perfectly working for me, it either works for you or it doesn't. No fins or wings to play with there. Sure, the different ear tip choices can make a difference, but the lack of wings might limit the flexibility in tailoring the earbuds to the anatomy of your ears. I hope it makes sense. As for their size and weight, the Sennys are the largest and heaviest of the bunch, followed by the LG with the Jabra being the smallest and lightest. And maybe for that reason, I found the E8A to be the winners in terms of comfort, followed by the TF8 and the Momentum Sport in that order. However, the differences are minuscule here, and I was more than okay with wearing any of the three earbuds for a 2-hour-long indoor bike session or for a 90-minute long run. And running with earbuds brings up another comfort-related issue, and that is the occlusion effect. It's practically the noise generated by your steps or strides when walking or running. And some earbuds handle it better while others not so much. In this instance, the Jabras are a touch worse than the other two, and probably the Momentum Sport is best in that regard, but again, all three buds are well within the margins of comfortable use, and I was never bothered by any of them during my own tests. On with another important attribute of the design, let's discuss IP ratings, aka ingress protection. The Momentum Sport is IP55 rated, which means limited protection against dust ingress and low pressure water jets, such as running tap water. The TF8 turns it up a notch with its IP67 badge, which means full protection from dust ingress and protection against full immersion into water up to 1 meter. The Jabra is the toughest thanks to its fully dust and watertight IP68 certification. Sennheiser claims the Momentum Sport to be shockproof, and the Elite 8 Actives passed some military-grade drop tests as well. Also, both the Jabra and the Sennheiser battery cases are IP54 dust and splash resistant, while the LG case does not offer any sort of protection against the elements. And speaking of the carry cases, let's see their design next. The Jabra is the most compact, while the Sennheiser is the least pocket-friendly of them all. The Sennheiser case is the only one that comes with a lanyard, or as they call it, a finger strap, but it's also the only one without a proper hinge on its lid. There is this thick, flapping silicone band that connects the lid to the bottom of the case. Both the LG and the Jabra cases get the job done with a more conventional and springy hinge, which I prefer during everyday use. And I reckon that their approach will prove to be more durable as well, as I'm not quite sure how long that silicone band will last. Of course, only time will tell if I'm wrong. But the silicone cover runs along the whole case, giving you a more secure grip, and it also covers up the USB Type-C port. So maybe Sennheiser are onto something here, as those exposed charging ports on the LG and on the Jabra cases can indeed collect some dirt and moisture, especially being carried around in a messaging bag all the time. But only the TF8 owners have to really worry about a dirty USB port, as this is the only case that does not support the Qi wireless charging standard. And that takes us to battery life. The three buds can deliver comparable results here. In terms of single charge playtime, with ANC turned on, the Jabra wins with up to 8 hours of playtime, while both the Momentum Sport and the TF8 can last up to around 6 hours. Both the Sennheiser and the Jabra cases can fully recharge their respective buds 3 times, while the LG case can do the same trick only twice. There is official data for use times without ANC for LG and Jabra, but since you cannot turn off the ANC completely on the Momentum Sport, there is no such information to be found. Either way, the clear winner here is the Jabra Elite 8 Active, and all 3 cases offer a 5 to 10 minute quick charge feature for an extra hour of use. Next, let's discuss prices. Sennheiser's flagship sports buds come in at an eye-watering $330, while the Jabras sit around the $200 mark as of making this video. And since the TF8 was announced back in 2022, you can find them for around $100 these days. Depending on when and where you watch this review, these prices and the availability of the buds can vary, so check out the affiliate links in the description if you want more up-to-date information. And on the note of affiliation, you need to know that this video was not sponsored by any of the brands, and while I got each of the buds from their respective manufacturers for testing, I never got paid nor was I influenced during the review period in any way, shape or form, so all I'm sharing with you is my own experience and my honest thoughts. On with the testing now, let's see some of the standout features that make these earbuds unique. Starting with the extra hardware on board the Sennheisers, there is a body temperature sensor and a heart rate sensor in the left earbud. Both data can be displayed in the Sennheiser smartphone app, but you will need the Polar Flow Fitness app if you want to track your body temperature during an exercise. The heart rate sensor can be connected to all sorts of smartwatches or bike computers, so you can get the data using any third-party app without being logged into the Polar ecosystem. And as a Garmin user myself, I applaud this flexibility. Also, the heart rate sensor can be connected to a different device than the earbuds themselves, so for example, while watching YouTube on my iPad, I can track my heart rate data in the Polar app on my phone. And on a stationary bike, the built-in heart rate monitor delivers very accurate results. It was within a beat or 2 per minute compared to my trusty Garmin sensors. When running, the pounding seems to throw off the sensor a bit, so it can give us inaccurate measurements, and during one of my runs, the heart rate sensor got dropped, losing connection with the Polar Flow app, while the earbuds were still playing music, so not sure if I would trust those HR measurements for my runs. Where I found having the in-ear sensor particularly handy, however, was the gym. Weightlifting is a scenario where wearing a chest strap is not recommended, and wrist-based heart rate monitors do tend to struggle with accuracy due to the hectic movement patterns of the wrist and the arms. But thanks to the snug fit of the Momentum Sport, regardless of what exercise I was doing, the heart rate seemed to be tracking just fine. And especially with kettlebells, where I usually turn the watch around my wrist or simply just take it off completely to protect the glass from being smashed by the kettlebell itself, the Momentum Sport was doing its job, safely hidden inside my ear canals. All in all, the in-ear sensor can prove to be handy and accurate in certain use cases. However, you have to keep in mind that if you want to use third-party ear tips, then the heart rate sensor might not work on the Momentum Sport. Of course, the TF8 and the Elite 8 Active do not share this problem because neither of those two have heart rate sensors built in. But they have something else in common which you will not get from Sennheiser, namely a smart case. Both the Jabra and the LG case have a Bluetooth transmitter which can turn any audio device into a wireless source. So you can connect your earbuds wirelessly to a treadmill or to an old TV or computer by connecting it to the case using the supplied audio cable. The wireless connection between the case and the earbuds is rock solid in both instances, and again, I can easily see its benefits across many different scenarios. And the LG case is not only smart that way, but it also has a feature which is unique to the TF8. Under the earbuds, you can find UVC lights which can kill 99.9% of bacteria on the ear tips when the buds are stored away inside the charging case. And being sports focused, the earbuds can indeed get messy, and some extra sanitation will not hurt in the long run. Of course, rinsing the earbuds after each use is still recommended, and having a waterproof design will allow us to do just that with all three. But please keep in mind that no matter the IP rating, after sweating all over your buds or rinsing them under tap water, make sure you dry them before putting them back inside the case, otherwise you will risk frying the electronics inside. And on that note, now let's see what those electronics can offer as far as connectivity. The main differences here are that while the LG buds only support the AAC and the SBC audio codecs, Jabra gave us Bluetooth LE audio and LC3 on top, and Sennheiser added aptX and aptX Adaptive to that list. Multipoint is available on all three, which means that each of the buds can connect to two devices at the same time. Both the Sennheiser Smart Control app and the LG Tone Free app provide you with a list of previously connected devices for manual switching between them all, but the Jabra app does not have that option. All earbuds can be used in mono mode, and as for everyday use, I did not experience any major connectivity hiccups with any of them, including lip sync issues with videos, but the LG app is the only one that offers you a low latency game mode. Both LG and Jabra have a Find My Earbuds feature, but while LG can only ping your earbuds using their app as long as they are within range, the Jabra Plus app can show you the last known location of the buds on a map. What all three smartphone apps can do on the other hand is full remapping of the functionality of the touch controls. Well, I mean touch controls on the LG and on the Sennheiser, as we get true tactile buttons from Jabra. And that can be a huge advantage across multiple scenarios, such as when wearing a hat or using the controls with wet or greasy fingers. And touch panels can also be prone to accidental touches with a wet towel or even if you have long hair. The LG is especially sensitive to mishaps like that, so I ended up disabling the single tap option in the app. The Sennys do not offer single tap in the first place, but what we get instead is adjustable sensitivity of the panels, where I found the medium setting to be the best for me. And there is another option where you don't even have to touch the panels on the Momentum Sport, but instead you can tap the bones in front of your ears and the buds will still register that action as well. Using the buttons on the Jabra, you can turn the buds on and off without having to use the carry case, which is a feature that's missing from the arsenal of the other two. All three earbuds come with proximity or wear sensors, so they will pause media playback automatically when being removed from the ears, as long as that feature is enabled in their respective app. Altogether, the physical buttons work best on the Jabra, followed by this hybrid tapping option on the Momentum Sport, with LG finishing third in terms of its controls.
And now let me give you a few mic samples. First, this is the audio quality you can get from the built-in microphones on the Jabra Elite 8 Active Gen 2. Next up are the Sennheisers. So this is the audio quality you can expect from the built-in mics on the Momentum Sport, with some traffic noise in the background and also with a slight breeze. And to conclude this comparison, here is another audio sample. So this is the phone call quality you can expect from the built-in mics on the LG Tone Free Gen 8.
As for the active noise cancellation, I found the Jabra to be the most efficient at blocking out all sorts of noises, with the Momentum Sport being a close second and the TF8 being third. The advantage of the Jabras is most obvious when it comes to taming constant low-frequency droning sounds. In terms of handling more random high-pitched noises, however, the Momentum Sport is pretty much on par with the E8A, and the LG is not that far behind either. All that said, dialing in the fit and cranking up the volume to proper workout levels can create a more level playing field across the board, making it really hard to tell the three earbuds apart in a real-world scenario such as a fairly noisy gym. Where the differences lie is transparency mode. It's called Hear Through on the Jabra, and it can be adjusted on a 1 to 5 slider in the app. Even at its highest setting, it sounds natural without over-amplified noises. The Sennheiser, on the other hand, is tuned to be louder and more intense. There is a slider in the Sennheiser app too, so you can always tone it down a little if you find it a bit too harsh. I found the medium setting to be the sweet spot for myself. As for the TF8 in listening mode, which is one of its two transparency options, it is much closer to the Jabra, only with a bit more of a digital sound. The conversation mode offers slightly boosted mids and highs to understand human voices better. As far as wind noise, the Momentum Sport comes out on top easily, thanks to its dedicated anti-wind mode, which does not only keep those whooshing sounds under better control, but it is also accessible through the touch controls. Turning it on will make the noise cancelling a hair less effective across the frequency range, but it's a trade-off I'm happy to make when running outside. Wind noise reduction is available on the Elite 8 Active as well, but it's not quite as effective, and it's also hidden in the Jabra Plus app with no direct access through the controls. The TF8 delivers the worst results in windy conditions thanks to the complete lack of any wind noise reduction. One last thing to mention is that while the LG and the Jabra buds allow you to turn off the ANC completely, on the Sennheiser buds that is not an option, as you can only toggle through ANC, anti-wind and transparency. So when it came to testing the sound quality, I decided to do it with the ANC enabled on all 3 earbuds. All other settings were similar too, no EQ applied. I also used the best available codec on each, which is AAC on the LG and on the Jabra, but aptX Adaptive on the Momentum Sport. And out of the box, the Sennheiser sounds warm with an elevated bass and crisp but not overcooked highs. It's lacking some clarity in the mid-range due to its V-shaped sound signature, and the highs feel a touch rolled off as well. The Jabra has a more detailed and balanced sonic character, with less of a kick in the bass, but more life in the mids, and maybe a touch more sparkle and extension in the highs. Vocals sound more forward, which I personally like a lot, but if you are after a more bass-heavy heart-pumping sound, then the Sennheiser will be your better bet. The LG TF8 falls a bit short in terms of dynamics and overall sound quality, as it's kind of flat and boring out of the box. But with the natural Meridian audio preset applied, the sound comes to life with a more substantial kick in the bass and a more energetic and open sound overall. The highs are still a bit rolled off, and vocals are still not quite as forward as they are on the Jabra, but that energy coming from the bottom octaves combined with the non-fatiguing treble can make the LGs a great companion for workouts. And the same applies to the Sennheisers. The Momentum Sport buds are the loudest and probably the most dynamic too, but the bass can get a bit out of control at higher output levels. Well, it does get a bit too much for my taste anyway. I'm sure many fitness enthusiasts will prefer this punchy sound over the more balanced presentation of the Jabra, which is a notch below the Momentum Sport both in terms of its overall volume and bass dynamics. For casual use, however, I still prefer the less colored but more detailed sound of the Elite 8 Active Gen 2. I have also tested the immersive Meridian preset and the Dolby Spatial sound mode on the TF8 and on the Elite 8 Active respectively, but let's just say that you are better off with any of the other settings or presets on those earbuds. None of the 3 earbuds offer proper spatial audio with head tracking, such as the Bose QC Ultra or the Apple AirPods Pro 2, but all 3 apps offer EQ presets along with multi-band manual EQ settings. And speaking of the AirPods Pros, those Apple buds are a prime example of the many earbuds out there that can easily fit the purpose of being your best gym buddies. But if you want top-of-the-class durability, an absolute secure fit, and across-the-board customization with some truly handy features, then you probably don't need to look further than any of these 3 discussed here today. If I had to choose one to leave in my gym bag, well, I would be in trouble. Before this review, I was pretty convinced that there was nothing that could beat the Jabra Elite 8 Actives for me, especially since the upgrades in ANC and sound quality we got with the 2nd gen buds. But after finding the right fit for my ears with the Momentum Sport, I started to appreciate its features and its extra bass more and more. I find the heart rate sensor to be a great extra, as it allows me to keep track of my training stress even without wearing a watch while lifting in the gym or spinning on the smart trainer. And these days, these 2 are my most preferable modalities of exercise. And when keeping the volume at moderate levels, that extra lower octave energy can come in handy with songs I tend to listen to during my workouts anyway. But again, the active noise cancelling on the Jabra works better with the sort of noise an indoor bike trainer can make when pedaling hard, and the E8As are also a touch more comfortable after sitting in the saddle for hours on end. For running, it's a toss-up between the Jabra and the Sennheiser, but given the much lower price tag of the Elite 8 Active Gen 2 and the unreliable nature of the heart rate monitor, the Momentum Sport loses some, well, momentum. That's unless you are extremely prone to that occlusion effect or want better wind noise reduction, in which case the Sennies are the way to go. The LG kind of fails me outside in breezy conditions and is getting a bit long in the tooth, but if you live in a less windy place than the west coast of Ireland, which is practically anywhere else in the world, then the LG will give you the best bang for your buck as of making this video. So if value per price, or in other words, feature per dollar is the deciding factor, the TF8 is hard to beat. And as you can see, each of these 3 earbuds can easily make their own case. It's just a matter of your needs and perspective. The good thing is that we have all these options across a wide range of prices, so you can decide which one of these earbuds fit your own budget and training routine the best. I, for one, can only hope that you found this video at least the tiniest bit helpful in making that decision. Of course, if you have any questions left, feel free to ask away in the comments. And if you already made up your mind, just share your experience and thoughts with us. Either way, if you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, as it helps me making more comparisons like this in the future. And there is more to come, I promise, as we still have to discuss some open ear and bone conduction designs to cover all bases when it comes to sports. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope to see you all in the next one.